Heidi ho, everyone, and welcome aboard. It is a brand new trading week, and it's the week beginning the 8th of February 2021. That means January is long gone, and of course, we are now launched into the trading year proper, which is great because generally I hate trading on January, but I've got to say this January was pretty good, so I've got no cause for concern. I'm going to get straight into the pound US dollar breakout trade up for you guys, because I have in the last few weeks got a situation where we get to quarter past the hour and we still haven't set up the second one. I'm actually not going to do that, but I'll tell you guys, those of you here for the first time, thank you, Paul. No, it's a long story. It's a long story. I'll go into it later. I'm only going to set up the my version, right? This is my version of the breakout trade, and I'll tell you exactly how the other version, which of course is the back-tested version, a little bit later on. What we're trying to achieve here, guys, those of you who are here for the first time, welcome to you. It's great to have you on board. Trying to achieve a breakout, or to catch a breakout of the previous range of 3 bars prior to London Open, and it's on pound US dollar. It's on a 1 hour chart. Now, it'll be exactly the same range, as you can see, probably of the last, oh my goodness, how many candles? I don't know. I can't count that many. I would take my shoes and socks off to be able to do that. But we're trying to trade the breakout of the high here and the breakout of the low here. So we're going to place a one cancels other order, which means if we get triggered into the long, we cancel the short. If we get triggered into the short, we cancel the long. Now, the way I do this at the moment, and we haven't, of course, proved that this is the way to go. It's not a proven system as yet, so you've got to bear with us there. Don't put any substantial money on this at all. It is still in test mode, so we're not saying this is a system that is followable or tradable even at this point in time. But let's set it up for you. The high at the moment is the high of this bar. That could change, of course, because it's current. The low I wouldn't expect to change, but it may well. It's a debate whether it's the low of that bar, 1.37246 versus 1.37245. So we'll use that one, 0.1 of a pip. That may change also because we're in such a tight range. And this is I would have to say, one of those days where you would probably consider you need to add a filter. And that filter might well be, okay, the range is way too small. We're standing a strong chance of going in and out with the very same candle within seconds. But that's fine. We will deal with that via our journal. That, of course, we are recording each and every day. So what I will do, I'll still place the order. I've got no problem with that. There's no reason not to trade short. There's no reason not to trade long because we're above the range. That's all good. Let's, I can't really set it because we're too close to the high and too close to the low, but I'll put them in, and if they need to change, they need to change. 1.37246 is the low of, sorry, or the 1.37245 is the low of that bar. We'll round that down to a whole number, so we'll call it 1.3724. So that's going to be the entry for the short, 1.3724. And the stop loss will be just above that bar. Sorry, that bar, because that's the trigger bar. 1.3731 will be the stop loss. So you've only got 7 pips of risk on that, which means our first take profit will only be 3 because we use half of the risk. So that makes take profit 1.3721. On the short, our TP2 will be double the risk, so that's 14 pips, so that'll be 1.3710. So there you go. I think I'm bold. There you go. We've got a new candle, so that is the short order. The long, we'll be trading this bar, so we go in at the high. We set the stop loss at the low. We'll take TP 1.5 and then TP2 at double the risk. So the long order will be 1.3741, 1.3741. The stop loss will be below that bar, again, rounded down to the nearest pip, 1.3727. Be really good if I didn't have to get out of this, wouldn't it? Maybe there's a way. I'll find it one day. So that makes TP1, sorry, the risk is 14 pips. So TP1 will be half of that, 7 pips. So 7 pips above 1.3741 becomes 1.3748. And TP2 is double the risk, which is 28 pips. Above 3741 will be 3769. Do you hope my maths are good? They should be. It's only Monday. Okay, well, there you go. There are your 2 orders. I'll place them now. Now, again, guys, if you are going to trade these, you need to consider that it is not a proven system. We're testing this, and you need to go very, 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 very small risk, micro lots at best. I'll place the long first, 1.3741. It's a buy stop, not a buy limit. And the stop loss is 1.3727. So that one's placed. Now, again, if you are with us for the first time, you need to know that this is a one cancels other trade. So we're looking for a trigger. If it goes long, then we cancel the short. If it goes short, we cancel the long. Entry for the short is 1.3724. And the stop loss is 1.3731. Righto, so they're both set. Now I'm going to put in place the TP levels for you. So we've got a visual of that. On the long, it's 1.3748, which is there-ish, very, very close to there. On the short, TP1 is 1.37, whoa, 1.3721. Yep, that's right. So you can see we've got very tight parameters today. Okay, so with a very tight range that we've got, as I said, I'm not sure I'd be willing to trade this. The good part about it is we've got such a tight range. If it does break and it'll go a fair way, and it'll give us a very, very good result on this. So that's the good part. The bad part is it is a tight range, and we don't know if we're going to get a breakout here. We never do, of course. So there's no filters on this. It's simply the way it is. And we will put up with the results, and we'll journal the result and learn from it, and hopefully get it to a system where we can actually say to you, okay, this is producing 70% winners and a profitable situation of 2% per month or something like that. That's our aim with this. So we'll get it sorted for you. Now, if you want to trade the other or monitor the other situation, which of course is the back tested version, it is a 5 candle breakout. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's pretty much the same range today, except that the entry for that particular scenario is 3 pips above the high of the range or 2 pips below the low of the range. And you would get out. There is no TP1, no TP2. You would get out at first support or resistance. In this case today, the short is pretty obvious. It'll be the daily pivot. So you get out just above the daily pivot. For the long, look, on that chart, I'd have to say you get out just below DR1. But let's see if we can find something better. Yeah, I think you'd have to get out before that. You'd have to get out somewhere around let's say, it's a bit tough, isn't it? Let's go with 37.55. Don't let it go to DR1. That would be the way I would look at that. So there you go. There's the pound breakout trade for the day. Let's see how it goes. It looks like we're very close to an entry for the long. So we'll stick with that for just a second. And if we do get taken in, I'll show you how to manage that. Again, TP1, if you hit TP1, take off half the position and move your stops from 137.41 up to 130, what was the risk? 7 pips up to 137.44. That's if you get TP1. Half off the table and move your stops the same amount that you took at TP1 below your entry. The chances of this actually making money today, I won't say Buckley's none, but I will say if it does go, you're going to make some money. If it doesn't go, you're going to get break even after TP1. That's pretty much the case. That's the way it is. Hi, Roy. Can I take a look at HS1 later? HSI looks like for Chinese New Year, southbound traffic is closing good to get in low and cash out at after Chinese New Year. Roy, if I knew what HSI was, I could certainly help you, but I've got someone in the room who may be able to. As you may or may not be aware, I'm a currency trader and I have got no idea what HSI is. PB,
well, that we're going to miss
aboard.
Ash today, aren't we? Because Ash will know the answer to that, right?
Ash would know the answer.
Ash would know the answer. I'm doing the stocks trading stuff with Gordon and Bob the account builder. Oh, Hang Seng Index.
There you go.
We'll have a look at the Hang Seng Index for you if we can. I'm not sure if they've got it on Fusion or not, but we'll have a look at that. Hey, man, how you doing?
Mate, I got to say, we've just turned the clock back a few years. It's a long time since you and I sat in a live trading room together. And no
back when you and I sat in the live trading room together, they couldn't see us.
That's true.
There was no camera.
Maybe they were better off. I'm not sure.
There was just the two of us droning on.
And having a wonderful time.
We were having a wonderful. Tell you what, made us traders. There's no question about it. There's a couple of years in there trading euro dollar only. I think that when I look back, Jeff, I think trading the euro dollar only on Slingshot was a fantastic education and price action. Really was.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Look, I sometimes wonder, mate, is it an exercise that everyone should go through? And I think euro dollar is the one because it's probably it is the most traded currency pair. I hesitate to say that to people today because there's so much education around strategy, around different ways to trade. But gee, it was a good grounding, I've got to say.
Yeah, look, I think one of the things that I certainly remember about that is that, and people, we don't understand how our own brains work, and it can be a problem as traders. But so if you're looking at the same chart every day, your brain remembers it and remembers it in detail. And if you start looking at two separate charts, it doesn't remember chart A and chart B, it remembers a combination of them. And at that point, your ability to recall stuff in real detail historically disappears. And, you know, I've got to say, Jeff, there's a lot of different ways to trade. And let's be honest, you know, we used to trade the Slingshot on the euro dollar, now you trade it on 6 charts. And I'm a bit of a believer that, you know, either one strategy or one currency. If you want to trade multiple strategies, trade them on one currency. If you want to trade multiple currencies, trade with one strategy. And I think quite often for new guys, they trade 2 strategies because they are still learning which is the right one. And it was a great basis for us. But I think most new traders wouldn't have the patience to do it anymore. I think they're looking for big rewards.
What generation are we? What do they call us? Oh, we're boomers, aren't we?
Oh, no, I'm not a boomer. You're a boomer. I'm still young. Are
you under boomer status? Are you?
I'm under boomer status. I'm one of those guys who all the people who hate boomers lob me in, and all the boomers leave me out. I've got no good news here at all. I've got no good news here at all.
So who are you? Where do you fit?
No, I don't know. I don't even know. We've got someone in the waiting room. Do we let them in?
I think we can let that guy in.
Yeah, we know who he is. But do we do that? I see James is in the room. Is everything okay with the show? Anything I need to know about? Can I cover for James? Is he just in because it's good trading stuff, or is he in because he's trying to cover for someone?
I've got no idea. I have absolutely no idea. We haven't been triggered into this, guys, have we, by the way?
Before we do this anymore, I've got to ask, mate, what's winning, man or machine?
I think the machine got its nose in. It was a terrible week last week for both. Well, when I say terrible, it wasn't disastrous for mine, but the computer had 3 losers, but I think it came into its own on Friday and probably got the money back.
Oh, there you
on
go.
Thursday, rather, on Thursday. And Gary, you're saying what happened on Friday? I've got no idea, mate. What happened on Friday? Let me have a look. That was Friday. Hourly chart. Ooh. Friday. 9 o'clock bar. 10 o'clock bar. I'd say it would have been break even for me by the look of that. And not sure about the computer. Yeah, I would have been taken out there. So it would have been break even, I would imagine, for me. And the computer, last 5 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, would have been great. Yeah, computer would have been good. There you go.
So the computer's on fire, mate.
On Friday, looks like it done really well. Thursday, it would have got down to here and would have been out for sure. So it would have been a winner. Yeah, winner, chicken dinner. But of course, I wasn't around on Friday, so I've got no idea. I've got a few things to look at, mate. How about you?
Not John, mate. I've got some things to talk about. So, oh boy, I'm just coming off this Hang Seng. No. If you got something to look at, I think we should look at. You've got to ask me about my day later on.
Okay, hang on a minute. I'll just write that down because it's just gone. You know, ask Paul about day, and I'll forget to look down at that probably. Okay, done. Righto, I'm gonna skip through a few charts here. Now, look, you guys know my MO these days, or those of you who've been here for a while will know my MO these days is to pick out maybe half a dozen charts. And the Sunday preview show has really got me into that habit, and I reckon it's a real good one. If you concentrate on maybe 4 or 6 charts, and you've picked those out, right, and there's good reason to pick them out, and concentrate on those for the entire week, I think you'll find out that there's good value in that, and I'm certainly been doing that for quite some time now. You've got to be patient, of course, but that's okay. Let's talk about last week very, very quickly, because we've still got an order in place there that we are now going to cancel. And I'm pretty disappointed that this hasn't played out yet, but it's still in that very, very tight range. Remember, we're going back a couple of weeks now, and we saw this false break coming off a big resistance level. There's a whole truckload of resistance here, horizontal level, resistance trade line, top of channel, coming off that clear false break, just hasn't played out. I think it's time to get rid of it, so we'll do that. We'll cancel that order. If I can actually get into it. There you go. So that one's gone. Do I still think it can happen? Absolutely. But, you can't hang around here forever. And there may well be a better setup. So we'll keep our eye on that and keep you posted. Swissy Yen. Now, the reason I'm still keen on Swissy Yen is because we're still ranging here. But the problem is we're in mid-range. And for that reason, I just have to wipe it and just wait till we get either up to the top or back down to the bottom. Again, that was last week. Euro Cad, how long have we been in this trade now? Would it be... traded that bar there, did we not? So we've been over a month and we're getting positive swaps. That's a good thing. but it ain't going anywhere too quickly, is it? That's for sure. But, you know, nothing's changed. The setup's still there. We've still got a double top at a very, very strong level. We've still got a lower high at a very strong level. And I'm just waiting for this to clear out here. And once it does, I think we'll be on our way. But hell, it's taken a long time. If we were in negative swaps here, I'd absolutely look to cancel that order. But it's still there. So just hang tight, guys. Euro dollar. Now, euro dollar is another interesting scenario. It always is euro dollar. And I've got to say that since we broke this range, came back and retested it perfectly, nice trade down to there if you grabbed it. We've come back in, they call these a V-shaped recovery, but, you know, it's only on a 4-hour chart, so we won't go there. But it's very, very strong, as you can see. And the clear indication I've got here is that we've now started to form a little range. Okay, it's very, very early days, but, you know, if I go back, and Paul and I were just talking about this, if I turn the clock back here and go back to 30-minute chart trading, all I'm waiting on here is a setup to trade this short, and here's my target. So I'll keep my eye on this. We had a nice bounce off the top of what is now a very early range. I've got to say that. And that bar there is interesting. The way I've changed my trading, if that was on a 4-hour chart or a daily chart, I would have no hesitation in trading it short now. But it hasn't given me a slingshot setup. So what I'd like to see is that level break, have a little bit of a consolidation above there, come back underneath the trade line, then retest the confluence. If I were to see that, I'd be in like Flynn, or a shark on a mackerel, as we say. Am I willing to take that position? No. But I can see it may let me down by actually going short here and leaving me clutching in midair. But, you know, that's not the way to trade a 30-minute chart for me. I've got to wait for that. And if I get that false break, then I will look to trade that short. I'm very, very interested in that. I think it's a really good position if it does set up. We may be looking at something like, I don't know, 10, 15 pip risk would be awesome. And our reward, 1.5, pretty cool as well. If you want to hold on and take it down to the bottom there, you may even get 2 to 1 out of it. May not get the opportunity, but if it does set up, happy days. That's exactly what I'll be looking for. US dollar CAD's really interesting, and I'm actually going to place an order here, guys, but I want to explain it first. And the setup that I've got is classic slingshot. The only issue I've got is there's not a lot of separation between the last consolidation and the setup. The setup is that we've got, I'll call this an inverted 3 little Indians. That, you know, my 3 little Indians up the top here is one of my favorite plays. This is the inverted 3 little Indians going the opposite direction. Why do I call it that? Because we've had a false break of this range, second false break of this range, third false break of this range, and now it's looking to go in the opposite direction. What hasn't happened is we haven't broken that trade line. What I do see is a beautiful little approach off the weekly pivot of last week, and then a pullback. So, you know, that's classic slingshot. If you know what I'm talking about, those of you who know the slingshot will know exactly what I'm talking about. So that candle there becomes a tradable commodity for us. So we are going to trade it, but what we're going to do, we're going to put our stop loss below the monthly pivot, because I think that's just the sensible thing to do. You could even put it down there, but then that takes away from the reward potential here. This may well come back down to this level. I've got no problem with that. And if it did, then we'd probably cancel the order. Obviously, we don't want to be taken in and then go down there. So I'm going to place an order above that bar. I'll give you the levels. The entry is going to be at 128.35. I'll write this down so I don't forget it. And don't forget, guys, I'm a massive US dollar bear. but we're going long here. 1.2835. The stop loss, as I said, is going to be below the monthly pivot. The monthly pivot's at 127.50. We'll sneak that down to, say, 127.44. And we'll put our TP1. So the risk is what? 90. Hang on. Stop loss 127.44. 90. 90.
Do you want me to post this stuff into the chat, Jeff?
91. By all means, mate. Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we? I mean, I've been doing a couple of things in the background. What are we doing?
We're going long dollar CAD.
Buy USD CAD level
at 128.30, 1.2835.
Yep. Stop loss
1.2744.
Yep.
PP1 1.2877. You can put in a TP2 as well if you want.
What risk, Jeff? TP2 1.
Oh, look, I'm a massive dollar bear, so I wouldn't be going any more than about 0.25% on this.
Okay, 1.
TP2 is 1.3000.
0.5%.
I'll put that on here before we go any further. So just repeating, entry level is 1.2835. And the stop loss
1.2744. And do you want to put TP1 or are you going to do that manually?
Yeah, I'll just do it manually. Actually, I shouldn't do that. I've got to email James to put a trade manager on this account. I'll do that one day. I've only been.
I saw him earlier. Was James still here? Was he gone?
I don't know.
Maybe it's now. There's now a different James, than I think.
Oh.
I don't think he's in the room anymore. He wasn't.
A duplicate James.
It's just you, me, and Angel.
Whoa! I've got a funny feeling that we're out of the. Did we get in the pound trade? Yes, we did. So we're out of the pound trade. That's a loser. Why hasn't that triggered the stop loss? Because we're in a sell. I cancelled the sell. I'll catch up with that.
Two trades. At the moment, we're in the short and we're still live, right, Jeff?
Well, it looks that way. We're not supposed to be, though, I don't think.
Which one is that? Is that man or robot?
That's man.
Okay.
Oh, we weren't triggered long. Okay, so we are triggered short. Is that how it worked? I can't remember. It's too hard. Too many things to do. CAD Yen is next on my list. And the reason CAD Yen is next on my list is because we've just broken a range. But we were looking at...
So haven't we?
We have fairly well. Now, those of you who have been watching this show for quite some time will know that this tweezer bottom here, followed by this higher high, and then we went into this range, which of course is an ascending triangle. Now, this is going to do one of two things, right? It's going to break out, sorry, one of three things. It's going to break out here and keep going up to probably the next resistance level, which I would imagine is there-ish. I can't see anything that's substantial before that. So 84.22. So we've got plenty of time to get into this if it does break out. Now, there's a contentious point, of course, as always, whether this is going to be a clear breakout or a false breakout. Now, the way we deal with that, or the way I deal with that, is wait until we either get A, a retest here of the breakout level, or B, a re-entry below the breakout level.
Yeah, now, one of your favorite trades, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Back into the range, test the top of the range. Here we go.
Yeah, it's old school, but it works. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm looking for here. Now, there's a chap that is a New Zealand resident, expat Pommy, who taught me something many moons ago, a couple of trading retreats ago,
Yep.
that there is a way to trade this as a one candle breakout or one candle false breakout. Now, that traditionally, I've just described to you guys exactly the way I trade these. It's either breakout or false breakout. But there is a way to trade it as a one candle false breakout. And it is simply to trade that bar. So you put your entry short underneath there and your stop loss above there. And if it does come back, potential is it's going to go to there. But that's the problem with this trade. I don't know that there's a good reward available for us.
That bar's a bit big, right?
Yeah, if we were to place that trade, we've got say 121 pips of risk. You can see where that yellow line is, which is my anticipated reward. It's only 99. So I don't think that's a reasonable position to take, frankly. And the bias, as I've said for many, many moons, as soon as we see these big tweezer bottoms, we've got a funny feeling that we're going to see something like that coming. And the ascending triangle gives you the indication that we're going to break. And at this point, that's the case. So I'd rather trade this long than short is what I would say.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. These triangles tend to break about 2/3 of the way from the, into the apex, and we're probably 3/4 of the way in at this point. So, and when I say tend to, obviously it's trading and that's a generalization, but around this level, you start to look for these triangles to break, right? Around this area from the end.
Around this area, what, mate? Sorry?
Around this area, you're starting to look for, so these triangles statistically break about 1/3 to 2/3 of the way towards the point. So, we're probably 3/4 towards the point. You're probably expected to break just a little bit earlier than this. So that's in an area where they often break and go. So I'd be a break and go guy here myself. As opposed, that candle's too big and to trade. Actually, it's okay. I've got another talking point. I'm going to talk about later on, which might include what's about to happen here.
Okay, cool. The interesting part for me is that it doesn't matter what we think, and it doesn't matter what the statistics tell me. If I see this or not this candle, but if I see price come back into here, nothing will deter me from looking for a lower high off the top of that range and trading it short. That will definitely get me interested. A retest of the weekly or a test of the weekly pivot here with a nice reversal bar here would also get me interested on the daily chart. So I think there's a few possibilities here on CAD Yen, and that's why I pointed it out. Interesting. And if Ash was here, I'm sure he would concur with me that on Thursday, maybe, I think it was Thursday overnight. If you're running, and yen's pretty hard currency to compare it with, but if you compared the CAD with let's say the Kiwi and the Aussie at the moment, and they're all commodity currencies, you've really got to be favouring. Sorry, I've really got to be favouring the Aussie and the Kiwi versus the CAD because of fundamentals. And I know, Paul, you know how much of a fundamentalist I am. But when I see unemployment figures that came out of Australia, which were pretty good, out of Kiwi or out of New Zealand, which were amazing, and poor figures coming out of Canada, I can only think one way, and it's Aussie CAD long and it's Kiwi CAD long. So they're probably the two I would favour if you are going to trade the CAD at the moment, based on that. But technicals are technicals, and that's the way I trade. So that's what we're looking at. I've only got I have got a few more. Pound CAD. Why am I interested in pound CAD? Because we've got a double top in play. That's why. We've also got a potential lower high here. Terrible candle on the daily chart, but it does have it does have the look to me of bearish engulfing bar, lower high at a very strong resistance level. So I'm interested in that. It's not there yet for me. I can't trade that bar. I don't think it's decisive enough. But in fact, I'd like, if it was a white body, I'd trade it, because that means to me, if they go long, it doesn't matter. But if they do come the other way, and you've got to consider, I suppose, that we've got the daily and weekly pivot crossing over and very, very close to one another. So it's not a trade yet, but I think that bearish engulfing bar on the daily chart and the potential for this to be a lower high is strong. So I'd really like price to get below here and come back and retest the weekly pivot. Then I think we can go, but not just yet. Pound US dollar, looks like that short's going okay. Hang on, we better take some profit here. We're at the daily pivot. In fact, we'll get out of this. We'll just close it. Done, out, gone. If I'm trading the pound this week, then I've got to be a little bit cautious, I think. In fact, I don't want to give it too much breathing. I don't want to give it too much oxygen, because it's just too tough here. I think this needs to probably pull back a bit, but I'm not sure it will. So I'm just going to leave it. Aussie yen's interesting, again, not because I think it's a fait accompli to trade long, although I'm an Aussie bull. I do think because we are where we are, it may create an opportunity. So same, you know, we're at the top of a range. The range is pretty clear in here. Once we do kick clear of that range and retest it, then it's confirmation it's going long. But if we come back into that range, then I think we've got an opportunity to trade it back down to the bottom of that range. And that's always going to be the case. If you can't see that range, I'll just put it in for you. You can pick the bottom if you like. For mine, and the way I do this, just by way of explanation, is as soon as I've got two equal highs and two equal lows, that becomes a range for me. So there's two equal highs here. There's probably two equal lows there, but there's certainly two equal lows there. So that's the range that I'm looking at. You could tighten that up if you wanted. Maybe use these highs, but this is the litmus paper that I use. And again, you know, you've got that decisive break with this big bar here. That's exactly what we're looking for. If you want to trade a single candle false break, you put short underneath here and you put your stop loss here. Again, because the pivots are a little bit too close, I don't think the reward available here warrants the risk. So I'd much prefer to see price come down to here, then come back, give us the lower high, then we can trade it down short. Aussie dollar. Yeah, look, we placed this order last week, guys. You'll remember, I think it was on Thursday. Yeah, it was on Thursday. We saw this clear false break forming, and we placed the order above that bar. We put our stop loss, I think, below that one. I can't quite remember, or maybe we just traded the bar. That expired, and of course, NFP news wasn't great, and that propelled the Aussie back to here. We've gone to the monthly pivot. Let's get rid of that trade line, but let's concentrate on the structure that we've got. And we've got a bounce off the bottom, and we've got a higher low at a nice level. You know, these are the things that you look at on a Monday and you think, oh my God, where was I on Friday when that happened? That's just the way it is. But you know, the funny thing with the slingshot is if it doesn't trigger, it often gives you a very strong warning of what may be ahead. And I think that of all things, that's the value that you get out of slingshots. You know, approach a resistance level, pull back off it, and then bang, away she goes. Anyway, what do we do next? Well, we wait for the pivots to be retested. You know, this is magnetic to price. Daily pivot and weekly pivot together. It's always going to be the same. And if we do get a higher low here, then I think you can trade with confidence back to the top of this range. That's exactly what I'll be looking for in Aussie dollar this week. Dollar Yen, we got out of this at pretty much exactly this level. 105.53 is where we got out. This is exactly what I was just talking about. Classic slingshot setup there. You can see the approach and the pullback. Hang on, I'll just go back one frame, right? Keep that picture in mind, those three candles right there. Now go back to this chart and look at those three candles right there. 1, 2, 3. And that's where the breakout occurred, right? That's your acceleration point right there. And that was the false break, right? It was also the false break, which is why we took that trade. And it's exactly the same right now. Well, not right now. When this took off, the trade that we took on Dollar Yen. Right now, I see a massive bearish engulfing bar on a 4-hour chart. The daily chart's not as pointed, I suppose. But what I see here is a potential retest, certainly of the false break area, which is this trade line. And then I think we can probably think about trading this back to that major trend line, which is on a weekly chart, also on a monthly chart. I don't see this going any further than that, frankly, but stranger things can happen. I only can give you what I think and what my bias tells me. My bias tells me as soon as we hit a strong resistance level on the dollar, or fundamentally on the dollar, we're going south. But in the meantime, you got some pretty bullish price action going on, I've got to say. This is the third week in a row, if it does remain bullish, that it will keep going towards that trend line. And I think probably you're entitled to think that that's where it's headed. I hate to say it, but that looks that way to me. But look at the strong resistance level it's at. It's attacking right now. It's like Tom Brady versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Too easy. Mate, if you're still with us, that's pretty much my roundup. I think Aussie CAD's in the same position as I just said. CAD Swiss, because it's at the top of the range, same thing. We're looking for it to come back under here. Give us a lower high, and then we can trade it. I only had 4 things to look at when I started, and goodness me, look at what we've come up with. There is more opportunity here than I thought there was when I started the week.
Right, Shukri thinks that Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. 31-9, they won it, didn't they? Gosh, that was a bit of a wow.
It's hard to argue.
I was working quite late last night, and I woke up early this morning for a meeting, and I fell asleep during the Super Bowl. Well, I don't have a...
That's not hard to do, because if they'd reduced the 5 hours to meaningful content, then it'd probably only go half an hour.
Yeah, but the players get paid half as much. You know, they don't want to do that. They want to play the players the money they make, right? I mean, let's not be ridiculous about it. Actually,
but impossible to argue that he's not the greatest of all time. Impossible to argue.
Spark Sport in New Zealand actually showed the halftime show as a separate thing. I didn't see it. I fell asleep. But, yeah, they...
yeah, I would have fell asleep for the halftime show because, it's a bit too hip for me.
Pretty comprehensive, really was.
It was a masterclass. I watched the whole thing.
You were going to ask me?
That I was going to ask you?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about your day, which has got nothing to do with the Super Bowl, I think.
Well, I did fall asleep watching the Super Bowl, which was part of my day. But it's day 6 of isolation today. So halfway tomorrow night, I'll be having a quiet bourbon 11:30 tomorrow night to celebrate making it to halfway of isolation. Of course, making it halfway is not really the point. You've got to make it the whole way. They turned me down for a walk tomorrow, Jeff, because I applied at 6:10 instead of between 4 and 6 to go for a walk tomorrow. It's too late, so I'm not allowed to leave my room tomorrow. The soldiers will harass me back inside if I go outside. Mate, my day this morning started off.
Come again. Why are you not allowed tomorrow?
If you want to have exercise, you're allowed to go to an exercise area attached to the hotel. It's you walk a small circle. You're not allowed to sit down. Not allowed to run. It's a walking area. And you've got to, and you can book an hour at different slots all through the day. And you've got to book between 4 and 6 p.m. And I tried to book at 6:10. It was Shukri's fault. Bloody James and Shukri had me. Had a meeting with them, missed it. So not allowed to go for a walk tomorrow, which normally wouldn't bother me too much, but that's quite a nice break from the room. But anyway, my day, I started off this morning, I got up early and I had a meeting with Ash and Ray about the cotton, the seasonal data, and the currency bias group that we run, and looking at how we're using cotton seasonals. As part of this break, I've done a complete review of all of the cotton seasonal information we've given out as a tip in the currency bias group, and how effective that's been around the fundamental stuff and the weekly pivot and the monthly pivot, going back over some strategies. I've reviewed the whole thing to work out what's working and what's not working, which is quite good fun. Are you out of that or in that?
We closed it daily pivot.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Great discussion, and we're going to get some more stuff in that strategy bias group, which is really good from it, and I really enjoyed it. And I checked my messages, and overnight my message had come in from one of Shukri's clients. You know the guy Simon. Always feel a bit sorry for Simon, right?
Absolutely. You don't feel sorry anymore, right?
Sorry?
You don't feel sorry anymore, right?
Don't feel sorry anymore. Simon's made $800,000 following.
Yeah, look, he deserves it. He had a rough try.
$800,000.
Wow, good on you, man.
Mate, Shukri, you're a legend. That is ridiculous, right? And he didn't he didn't start off with $5 million and make $800,000.
No,
he started off with $400,000 and made $800,000 in 3 months. That is ridiculous. And you know, we had yeah, you must be the GOAT crypto coach, Shukri. You know, it's really cool fun, mate. We've started going into crypto, and we've got guys doing this kind of stuff, and there's another couple of Shukri's clients that have had amazing runs. And we've had Bobbin doing his show on Sunday, where he 10 times his account, showing us how to do that. We're live trading with him tomorrow night. And then this evening, I had a meeting with Shukri about some stuff coming up on the crypto. And then Julian rings and goes, you know, I've got a bit of spare time. You know, what can I do? So it looks like in the next few months, we'll have Julian doing Trader Cafe before the Sunday session once a fortnight.
I like that.
People and teaching
nice.
People. Yeah. Nice. And yeah, he's also looking at perhaps doing a futures course for us, because we've got Gordon for stocks and options, Bob, Shukri for crypto, a lot of guys for Forex, and I've never traded futures. So Julian may well do a bit of a futures thing for us as well. So amazing. Good day, mate.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wish. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It kind of makes me think that it would be nice to roll the clock forward for me, so I can get out of my current situation and concentrate on a few more of these things.
If you gave me the choice of following Shukri on crypto or owning your bamboo, I'd go with your bamboo.
Yeah, look, as you know, I made that.
There's more work involved in bamboo farming, right?
There is, but that doesn't kill anybody. Well, it may kill me, but it shouldn't kill anybody. No, it may be the death of me, but you know, hell of a way to go out.
Mate, I thought I might have a look at a couple of charts, and I thought I might.
Now, there's an idea.
We tried to invest in that before, didn't we, Jeff?
We tried what? Sorry.
We tried to invest in the bamboo thing once before. We were going to get another piece of land in Tasmania. Yeah,
look, I've just recently. There may be an opportunity. I've just recently. I'm now a super salesman for a. What do they do? They build.
You know, you're going to need to work on your sales skill. This is not quite super salesman stuff. I'm a super salesman for
a mob who makes bamboo kit homes.
Oh, and you guys in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, and
I like those properties.
Now they've got a resort. You can go and have a look at that. I think it's. I'm not sure exactly where it is. No, it's in New Zealand. You got a resort in New Zealand.
Yeah, I know something. Yeah.
Yep. So
I'll be allowed out to see New Zealand in a week or so.
I'll find out where that is, because as soon as I think there's flights available from here in a couple of months as well. As soon as that happens, I'm over there.
Mate, you can come over here now. It's no problem. You just got to take a flight to Sydney, fly here, and stay in this room for 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's got knobs on it. I won't be doing that.
Limit to 4 drinks a day supplied by that. You got to pay.
Not going.
$3,100 for it to be isolated, and then I've got to pay for the drinks on top. Luckily my brother told me, so I might have snuck a bottle of Jim Beam into my bag for the isolation.
Only one. Gee, this won't last long.
I'm cutting back on alcohol. I'm getting old.
Yeah, right. So I've just joined the Tasmanian Hemp Association. Now, the
Do I need to cut
Tasmanian,
you off?
sorry?
Do I need to cut you off? Do I need to stop
No,
you
no,
there?
no, no. This is
Am I going to have
perfectly
more
legal.
complaints from YouTube?
This is industrial hemp. It's all good. No songs going, nothing like that. The hemp, it's got so many things going for it, right? The hemp building. And if I can put these people together where they have these hemp not foundations, hemp walls and bamboo facades, man, we're going somewhere with that. So did I say there was not going to be another project for me?
You said to me less than a week ago, you told me nothing new. Mr. Super Salesperson.
Here I go again.
Yeah, honestly, I'll ring your wife.
Go on then.
Rightio, let's have a look at a chart. I want to talk about a particular chart today, and I want to see if I can do a little bit of a review of it.
We might have in 14 minutes, we might have a euro dollar short, by the way, guys.
Cool, mate. I'll be well finished, I reckon. If I'm not, just let me know, mate.
Sure.
I think you'll enjoy this too, Jeff. So one of the things
Gire, I'll come back to that, no problem. And Lewis also, I'll come back to that, no problem.
Great. One of the things that I'm doing in isolation is I'm trying to look at the market, and I'm trying to say, what is it that we don't see? What is it after all these years where we're used to looking for different things and we don't see other things? And
I love that subject.
Could make a difference. Yes, it's a really challenging thing to look at something you know really well and try and find something in it you don't know, you don't understand. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have a look at this, and I'll talk a little bit later on about, if we get time today, about the way I think markets reverse. I think we're missing a trick on the way that markets reverse. But I'll come back to that. One of the other things that I believe is that I believe right now in this market, the way to trade is shallow retracements and breakouts. And I've never really been a breakout trader. And one thing I would never do is buy the top of the market, because you buy the top of the market, you've got a 97% chance of losing, so I don't want to do that. But all of a sudden, I'm of the opinion that shallow retracements and breakouts are what's working in this market. And oil is breaking out. This is Brent oil, by the way. We've got WTI there, but I'm going to use Brent for this. So aggressively breaking out, and previously for me, completely out of the question. But all of a sudden, I believe that shallow retracements, things like this, provide moves like this, and that went in here. Shallow retracements. I'm not a believer in big retracements right now. There's a nice big retracement there. That's not really a trend to be a retracement of, to be fair, but I'm into shallow retracements. I'm into breakouts. I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Oil. And then today I was listening to Ray and Ash, and honestly, one of the great privileges of my role is that I get to speak to Julian about, what he's doing, and I get to speak to Shukri about what he's doing, and you about what you're doing. And you listen to Ash and Jeff talk cotton seasonality, and you just go, oh my gosh, I could buy the rights to that. And one of the things when they're talking about oil, which I found really fascinating, and I'm going to do a little bit of a class on this right now, is here is our data. This is our data. You in the strategy bias group, you're getting this stuff for free. You should be able to have a link to that. Click on, there's the seasonals and cot data. There's our page. I've come down to oil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at commercial positions. And now a lot of time when I've looked at cot, what I look at is the net position. And there's really no change to the net position. Hasn't done bugger all, right? But what Ray said to me is, he said, don't just look at the net position. Now, these are commercials. And what we know here is that commercials are selling oil, but commercials are also buying oil. So why is that happening? And he said, because there's two groups of these commercials. There's those that are getting a good price for it, so they're selling it. And that makes sense, right? Oil's gone up, so you're going to, if bamboo goes up, Jeff, all of a sudden it's worth $10 more per plant than it was yesterday, you're going to sell a few plants, right? But there's another group of commercials that are in the market saying, yep, it's gone up, but it's going up further and I need to get in. And they're buying as well. So we've got commercials selling and commercials buying, which is why there's no difference in the net position long. The net position, longs and shorts, net are the same. More are buying, more are selling. Now, for Ray, that's a continuation pattern. And that's Cott telling him that this move up has strengths on both sides. That, yep, the commercials are prepared to sell it here because it's a good price, but commercials are prepared to buy it here as well because it's a good price. Interesting. So I was interested in that. And then I watched them talk some more. And look at this. The seasonality on oil's down. It doesn't help me very much at all, does it? Right? But I clicked on this and opened up our seasonal charts. And what I realized was that
I've only got your Brent chart up, mate, in the moment.
You don't have. I'm not sharing this. I'll tell you what, that won't be helping at all. Let me. So I've moved the images. New share. Let me get into this. Now let me come out of the seasonals and go back and show you what I'm talking about again on the COT data, right? So really when it comes to COT, if you just want to cheat on it, I'm interested in what the commercials are doing, right? We're non-commercials, and the non-commercials are always wrong. Look at the commercials, right? And people often look at this here, the net position. It says here the net position, and the net position for oil remains the same. And the reason it remains the same normally because nothing's happening, but what's happened here is more people are buying and more commercials are selling, and both are going up. And what Ray tells me is that that's a continuation sign. He thinks that means the move may continue because sellers are going to keep selling because it's good value, but somewhere in here, buyers reckon that this has got a long way to go. And I remember doing market analysis last year saying oil is a dead set sell in the short term, but is a dead set buy. And we're going to 90 to 100 bucks on oil within 6 months of COVID being over. So I think that oil at 56, 58, 59 bucks is still value, right? And as vaccines start going into people and we start to see promising results, not amazing results, but promising results, the picture for oil looks pretty good to me. So people are buying oil because the news is a bit better. It might go back to normal. We might get back to a proper price for oil. What that price might be, we don't know. But what we do know is that COT says that it might continue. But I popped up here and I had a look at crude oil, and it said the seasonality. This is our chart, so you can get to if you're on that bias group. It said that seasonality is short, but I clicked on that, and it tricks you because it opens up here, right? And when I had a look at this, right, it looks to me as if the move up in oil is due just before halfway through the month, middle of February, right? Goes up around there, middle of the month's probably there. So probably looking at about the 10th or 12th of the month. And actually right now, I'm in a serious down move in seasonals, which is the arrow points. But what Ray says to me today, or says to Ash today, I just happen to be listening in, he says, no, Ash, when the trend is early, the seasonal will start early. When the trend's already in play, the seasonal will start early, right? So I've got potentially this seasonal move. There's a pretty big pullback there, but I've got this potential seasonal move starting. I've got buying. I've got COT supporting buying. I've got the seasonal saying we're not far. And look, seasonals are not like talking cricket with Jeff, where he's going to tell you what's going to happen to the ball. Seasonals are more general, right? And they're not an exact science. And you can get carried away in the detail here and say seasonals are coming down because, they might be coming down this much in this period of time here. Or you can focus on the fact that they're going up that much in the time that's coming, right? So all of a sudden I've got, well, COT says the buying might stay. Seasonality says that the move up's going to start soon, and because it started early, we're going to believe that that's an early start in the seasonal move up, right? And this ties into the way that the various thinkers in these industries work, right? So all of a sudden I've got seasonals long-ish. I've got COT supporting me. I've got a belief that the way to trade today's markets is breakouts. And I think oil is a dead set buy. Now, having said that, I don't think oil is a dead set buy at 60 bucks. I think you've got to let it get through. I think we're at a round number. And right now at the round number, I will hesitate. But we get above the $60 mark and clear. I don't like buying right on round numbers. And I will buy this and have a crack at it. I will not wait for a pullback like I would normally do all of my life. I just think that breakout trading is the way. And look, it perhaps leads me into another thing.
We do that a bit, you know, breakout trading.
Yeah, you do a bit of breakout trading?
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of breakout trading at the moment, Jeff. I just think that this is a market that is different, and that
There's no question about that. It is different.
yeah, look,
I think it's excitingly different. It's not boringly different. I think if we can understand it and adapt to it, there's plenty of opportunities out there.
yeah, mate. Look, I tend to agree, and I've been working on another little theory. Do you want me to see if I can show you my other little theory?
Go on.
I believe that a lot of the price action that's been taught for decades, if not centuries, might not be as influential as it used to be. And that if you want to understand how a market reverses, markets reverse by putting in a decisive bar that closes on the top or overextends, followed by hesitation or reversal. Now, that bar doesn't need to be red, it can be green. But if you see this, there's a move down, followed by hesitation, and there's a move up. Now, that move up comes up here, puts in a decisive bar.
We're back on. We're still on the.
Oh, this share screen thing. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
I've let me do that all again for you guys. Boom. So what I started was down here, right? Here's a move down. Here's a decisive bar coming down, right? And then there's a hesitation bar or a little reversal bar, inside bar, not quite an inside bar. I talked about this pattern quite a lot previously. And then markets go up. Then it puts in a decisive bar, and then it puts in a hesitation bar, and then markets go down. Then it puts in a decisive bar, then it puts in a hesitation bar, and then markets go up. Decisive bar, hesitation bar, markets go down. Decisive bar doesn't work here. Goes back up. Decisive bar, hesitation bar, market goes down. Train tracks reversal, so not quite the same. Decisive bar up, hesitation bar, market goes down. Decisive bar down, hesitation bar, market goes up. Market goes up. Decisive bar, hesitation bar, market goes down. Market goes up, hesitation bar, market goes down. Market goes up, decisive bar, in between bar, reversal bar, market pulls back. But I think what we're seeing in charts is we're seeing towards the top of the move, you see a decisive bar, and then you see some form of hesitation, be it a little inside bar, and these quite often aren't quite inside bars. They quite often pop out the top a little bit, but that kind of pattern is really prevalent at the top. But sometimes that kind of pattern, instead of being like that, will actually still be a little green bar, like here. Here's the big move up, and the hesitation bar is actually a green bar. But that's a decisive move, and that's a hesitation bar, and we don't see the pullback there. But that's the pattern I'm looking for. And the more I look at charts, big move down, hesitation bar, pops back up. Hesitation bar, pops back down. The more I look at charts, the more I think that is more decisive for me than any other chart pattern that I see. And that it's not, it's got some work on what's a decisive bar and what's a hesitation bar. But that's the pattern I see at tops and bottoms of all the moves. And I think if you're looking for that, and I can find, you can name any chart, I'll pull it up and have a look, and I think you'll find the same stuff. And that this seems to be the way markets are working for right now. Decisive bar, a larger bar closing at the top, or a larger bar closing at the bottom, followed by a degree of hesitation. That, and then away we go. Now that happens to be a ring high, which I think is quite prevalent still. But what I'm not seeing is much of, in this whole move, right? What I don't see a lot of is train tracks reversals, engulfing bars and pin bars. I see some of them, but I don't see a lot of them in the key areas right now. And I think it's, I want to say that, there's a few. There's a nice train tracks reversal there. There's an engulfing bar there. There's a pin bar there. But I don't think they're as prevalent as I expected, or that they used to be. So what I'm doing in my time in isolation is spending a couple of hours a day just looking at charts and trying to work out what we're missing and what might be working, what might not be working, and how we can build that into the way that we trade.
It almost makes me think a fortnight in isolation would be not such a bad thing because you can't do anything else.
Yeah, it's good fun. You know what it's like, Jeff? And every day there's a million reasons why I can't spend time in front of my charts looking at this kind of stuff. And, you know, being here, it was when my wife asked me what I was going to do, what I told her was I was going to pull our strategies to pieces bit by bit and put them back together and see what I can see. And I find it fascinating. And I can't tell you that. Here's what I can tell you. Shallow retracements and breakouts are pretty clear to me the way to be trading right now. That once retracements start to get a bit bigger, they tend to end out in this kind of mess, right? So there is a move up and there is a bigger retracement and it doesn't go anywhere. But the small retracement here does, and 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 the small retracement here does. This bit more of a mess, to be fair, before it goes. You know, it's a small retracement, but it does go sideways for ages. It's hard to get onto that. It's interesting to look at charts and to see, as I say, I did a full review on every time we've said that COT, seasonals, fundamentals are long or short. Here's what happened in the chart for every currency we've done it on since we've been doing the currency bias group. We did a full review of that with Ash yesterday. Went through how that stuff's working and how to improve that. Had the meeting with Ray today to tie into that. It's really nice to have the time to do this. I was talking to Linka earlier today about her doing a trading show, and she was talking about back testing by machine. And I said to her that back testing by machine is how you confirm something. Back testing by yourself is how you learn something.
Yeah, good, like it, mate. Euro dollar. I'll talk about that in just a tick, but I want
gutted in oil, mate, because the level's wrong. If the level was right, I'd be buying this, but that $60 thing's already holding a little bit. So I'm a little bit gutted because I quite like oil as a buy, but we'll let that go. Back to euro dollar, mate. We're having a look at euro dollar.
I don't think I've seen you buy too many instruments when they're like 5 days in a row up or anything like that. Yeah, but anyway, I want you to add to what you've just said one thing and one thing only.
Yep.
Just have a look at key reversal bars. Same, exactly the same process, but key reversal bars. Add that to
key reversal bars. What's your definition?
Okay, key reversal bar is a bar whose, let's say we're in a downtrend, whose low is lower than the previous day.
Yep.
But it closes on or near its high.
Key reversal bar in a downtrend, its low is lower than, okay. So,
so there's one. Go back to the 27th of October 2020.
27th of October 2020.
That pin bar you got there. That one. Whoop.
This one here.
Yep. That qualifies.
Yep. So because the low is higher than the previous bar and it closes towards its high.
Yeah, it's on or near its high. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Now
yep.
the what chart are you on? Yesterday's bar, exactly the same. That qualifies.
Yep. Look, I think that interestingly enough, Jeff, they both qualify to some degree as engulfing bars, right?
Yes.
Which is the big thing that Andrew's doing. Andrew's trading engulfing bar entries, right?
But they're not necessarily engulfing bars. The criteria, that bar could have closed halfway up the previous bar and it still qualifies because the low is lower than the previous bar and it closes on or near its high. It could close halfway up that bar.
So I really like that, Jeff. And you notice that I talked about this inside bar thing and that I've talked a lot about, well, a reasonable amount about inside bars recently. Now, one of the things that I say quite often when I speak about them is a lot of them aren't actually inside bars. They're because they pop out the bottom of the downtrend, right? Mm-hmm. And they end up not being, but they close about halfway up. I love if that bar closed halfway up that bar, the chances of the next day going to the top of the bar for mine are about 80%. It's amazing how often it happens. This is one of the things why you want to look at charts and just, look. So there's my decisive bar, inside bar, move up that I talk about quite a bit, right? But if that bar just pops down the bottom of that bar, it doesn't bother me in the least. I know it's not an inside bar, but it's still doing the same kind of thing for mine. And look,
that's interesting because I rule those out. I might have to rethink that.
Look, I went through a dollar yen chart in one of these sessions about 6 months ago, and it showed them about 15 consecutive reversals based on inside bars and dollar yen on the daily chart. Every reversal, top and bottom,
that'll do it.
An inside bar. Sorry,
that'll work.
That was crazy, and but it's the same kind of thing here, right? I guess you're not going to quite call that a key reversal bar, but these things. I don't think for me, whether it just pops out the bottom or not is really that important. If it doesn't take out the bottom, it's okay, provided it closes particularly if it can close by its high halfway up. I think that's a great trade. It's a great sign,
One thing I would say as well, no matter what those breakouts or short retracements are, I think profit taking at strategic support and resistance levels is still the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is one of the things that maybe one of the things that we've done is we've become, and it's just part of normal evolution, is we've become very much a chapter education where we teach a chapter and there's another chapter over here, another chapter over there, another chapter over there, and we try and put them in a line, create a pathway. And the pathways are amazing and they're powerful in my view. But I think that maybe just a little bit of more this kind of stuff about where do you take some profit, and more importantly, where do you come back in? If you're going to trend trade, what you're looking to do is to, and it's not, it's easy to do this on an old chart, but you buy it here, you sell a half here, you add a position or a half there, you sell a half there, you add a position or a half there, you sell a half there, and obviously that I was picking some. It's easy to do this on yesterday's chart, right? In fact, that's one of the things that I think is becoming a myth in trading, right? Some of the things that we're told, and I'm going to use one of the ones that I think perhaps is we've got to be a bit careful of. People say, trends go on longer than you expect, trends are your friend to the bend at the end and all this kind of stuff. And they are on old charts, right? It's pretty clear here, right? But live, I just don't think it's quite as simple as that. This uptrend here did not keep going. Well, I guess it did really, but boy, you wouldn't have made much money through this period. It got knocked over in here for sure. And some of the stuff I think we need to be looking at with fresh eyes and having a bit of a look and seeing what it is. I'm just going to look at the chat. Were the chat questions all just telling me that I couldn't see my chart?
I don't see anything that says that. I've got a few questions to answer, but that's fine. Sometimes you don't see every question.
They're sticking behind,
which is frustrating.
Yeah,
I've got chat open and I see everything up to Roy's last question.
Great. So your point about key reversal bars, you like key reversal bars still?
I do,
this is the first strategy you ever learned, right? This is before Slingshot. Key reversal bars were a big part of this, what you would have taught sort of 400 or 500
years ago. Yeah, they were,
ago.
but I don't think the person who taught me understood what they meant, nor did they understand the relative position or context. Context is everything for key reversal bars.
This is one here, right? Goes beneath the in the downtrend, it goes below the previous bar, closes close to its high.
Where are you?
That's one there, right?
I don't know where you are.
Oh shit! This bloody. Am I sharing screen?
No. You've got the right chart.
There.
Yes, that's a key reversal bar, and so is the swing above it. That one.
Yeah. Nice too. Yeah, and that one there.
And that one? No, I would rule that out because it hasn't closed close enough to its high for mine.
Fair enough. It's weird. Often when I'm working at home, I work in my office, and my wife.
Actually, sorry, Paul. Before you say that, if you go the very next bar, the one I just dismissed.
Yep.
Come across to there. If you go the very next bar, that's a key reversal bar.
Yep.
Because its high is higher than the previous, and it's closed on or near its low. That's all you need to know.
So is that one there? Oh no, that one there.
That one there is the same, yeah.
The key reversal bars are also pretty interesting to have a look at, aren't they?
They're very interesting,
One of the things
especially in
that
context.
really does concern me, I think that I see as many decisive bar reversals as I see the patterns that we will look for. Now, there'll always be ring highs, ring lows, because there has to be a turn. And I guess there's engulfing bars here, but I don't see as many of these bars as I'd like to. So that's an interesting thing. I think that the current markets are giving us some different patterns. And look, it's likely, without being able to say this is definitely the case, that automated trading is starting to impact on a few things that may well include bar patterns, you know.
But that's okay if we understand what they're doing, you know. It's not the end of the world.
Well, that's why you've got to lock yourself away for a couple of weeks every now and again, just have a look, right?
Exactly right. Yeah. Look, I've got to answer some questions.
Yep, let's go.
Before we go, Paresh, I know you asked this on YouTube, and I know that Angel in tonight. I think it's Angel. Answered you and said we wouldn't be answering that. Well, we would be answering that pretty soon. I'll do that right now. And Lewis, you're the same. Dollar Swissy. Why, I'm not sure, but there would be a reason why you're asking that question. Let's have a quick look. And, you know, we've always got to start with, all right, where are we? Where are we headed? And, you know, the weekly chart will do for right now. We're at a strong resistance level, right?
I reckon you've done it this time, buddy.
Beg pardon?
I reckon you've done it this time. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm still looking at it. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, it's a two-step process, and you know I'm only a one-step guy. It's as simple as that. So it's pretty clear to me that we're at a strong resistance level, right? Previous support, and in a strong downtrend, no question. What's the monthly telling us? The monthly is really interesting on Dollar Swissy. And if you go back to that horrendous time of January 1, 2015, you will know what I'm talking about, where the Swissy got decoupled from the euro. It's thrown this chart into a place where I actually can't give you a strong monthly overview of what that chart means. What I can do is look at the weekly, and that's probably the broadest that I can go to. And it's in a very, very, very strong downtrend. In fact, what I should do with this chart is reduce the number of candles so I can actually see what's going on, so I can eliminate that. So let's go a bit tighter, and that trend line there, right, becomes, to me, important. And I think we're in a position where it's a little bit tough to go, righto, let's trade this long now, because we are at that strong resistance level. Bring in the daily chart, and then you can see a completely different story, in my humble opinion. It's giving us a breakout and a retest. So I guess that's where you guys are coming from. I can see that. And that to me is pretty bloody clear. What I need to determine is whether it's worth trading. I'd have to put my stop below the weekly pivot, right? 86 odd pips. And you've got 1-to-1 maybe to get to that trend line. That's the question I think you need to ask yourself. Inverted head and shoulders. Yep, got it. Break, interesting. That becomes more interesting for me. Here's, well, the neckline somewhere here, right? No retest. So I'm kind of thinking this is not for me right now. Let me have a look at the smaller time frames. Yeah, like it. Nice potential false break here. Can I trade that? No, because I can't trade straight into an untested weekly pivot. Why? Because the potential for this to hit there and bounce is way too strong. So it becomes, where do you put your stop loss? Up here somewhere. Risk to reward, dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. So I actually don't see a trade here right now, guys. I see the setup, totally get it. That could go long here and hit that level. Untested weekly pivot below, it doesn't work for me. And I think there's another horizontal level here as well. Yeah, it's in there somewhere. I get it, totally get maybe what you're seeing, but for me, it's no. I just can't trade that at the moment. There was another one. Hi, Helen. Dollar Sing on the daily for Gire. I'll get to that in a minute. And Roy, sorry, I can't give you an opinion on the Hong Kong 50 or the Hang Seng Index. They're not way outside of my area. Pound CAD.
I'll have a look at the Hang Seng afterwards, Jeff.
All right, mate. Pound CAD. I did go through this earlier, and I think again it's in a no trade zone. What I do think, however, is that there is potential for this to go short, but it ain't now. See the pivots, daily pivot, weekly pivot, monthly pivot, they're all crossed. And this is just telling me that we're staying here for a bit. It's not giving me any indication that we're going to break out of this area anytime soon. We're winding up, I get that part. But at the moment, I said this from the outset, I see a big bearish engulfing bar on the daily chart. Potentially this is a lower high. And if that's the case, then this should go. And if it does, happy days. Best case scenario is we come below the pivots, below this horizontal level, and then retest the pivots. If we get that and a lower high here, then I'm really interested in trading it short. Can I trade it long at the moment? I don't think so, because of that. That's telling me that we've got at the very least, a slow down period, and we're at a resistance area. So this is the top of a range for me. I'll be looking to trade this short, not long, but I can't do it at the moment. I've got to see these pivots get cleared. So break the monthly pivot, come back and retest the weekly maybe, or even break the weekly and retest the weekly. As long as we've got room to take profit before the monthly, don't have a problem with it. But I certainly can't trade this at the moment. We're in too tight a situation. Where is the footsie man? The footsie man is, I would imagine, sound asleep, lamenting the fact that Tom Brady won his 7th. Was it 7th?
5th?
I think it was his 7th. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was his 7th. Incredible. Just incredible. And I think he threw 70% today, something like that. And his opposition threw less than 50 or 50.
To be honest, mate, I'm not sure that Tom Brady would have thrown 70% behind the coverage that his mate got. The voice of the chief did a lot of his time on his ass. It's pretty hard to play good quarterback on your bum.
Wow, he was like an ant, wasn't he? He was all over the place. I felt sorry for him. He had to run 30 meters backwards at many times.
One time he ran 30 meters backwards and threw a touchdown pass, and the guy dropped it.
Oh, that was amazing. Had that stuck, he was sideways when he threw that, right?
Yeah,
that was that was amazing.
I remember one thing when I played sport and when I coached sport, I always remember was that when somebody else did something brilliant, you always wanted to finish off for them. And that guy needed to catch that. It was a great bit of work. Hit it in the corner post, and that was into that.
That would have been an all-timer.
Let's get back to the charts. I don't want Ash telling me off the other day for running over. I know next time I see Ash going, you came on my show and you took ages. Get a move on, Paul.
Right, get a move on. There was another question, I'm sure. Pound CAD we've covered.
Dollar
Swissy we've covered. Dollar Sing, was it? Okay. Gire, yep. And the other ones were indexes. I think we're okay. Right, Dollar Sing. I don't have a Dollar Sing chart up, but let's find one. There it is. Okay, so we've got to think about the dollar first, in my opinion. That's where we start. Think about the dollar. going back to where I started the session, I feel the dollar's got a little bit of downside in it, maybe a little bit of upside after that, but I think it's got a retracement this week, if not the next few days. Whew. Again, we've got this break retest, haven't we? We've got a big reversal situation here. We've got a left, right. We've got a break and retest of the neckline there, maybe. I see why you're interested. I think I could probably get interested as well. Okay. So if that's the left shoulder, there's your neckline. If that's the right shoulder, there's your neckline. It has been broken and retested, maybe on its way. What else can I show you? That would worry me a little bit. Hasn't come back to test that one. Horizontal level is right there. Don't think I could trade into that, guys. But I can see where you're coming from. This is a potential reversal. I've got no question about that. I'd much rather see it break that horizontal level, I think, then come back on it before I got too excited here. That's me. You've probably got a reasonable case to go long right now, but I'd tell you what, you want to take profit fairly quickly because that level there is dangerous, 134, I reckon. You ain't got much room there. But if you can find a way in with a reasonable stop loss, there's no reason why you can't take profit there. And if it does go, you're in the game. So, yep, I see it. Am I willing to trade it? Not yet. Break and retest there, I reckon, before I went. That would be me. Right, mate. I think we've caught up. You were going somewhere else?
And I was going to have a quick look at the Hang Seng.
Hang Seng, yeah.
And I don't have a lot on it, to be honest, but I'll one of the things that we're always saying is, is there a bit of selling pre-Chinese New Year, and will we come back to the buy? Well, that's very possibly a thing, and very possibly you will. I've got to say I don't know enough about it to suggest that. Certainly on the 4-hourly chart, we can see a little bit of selling. One of the daily chart actually looks a bit harder to pick. Certainly looks rangy to me. And but if I was going to trade this technically at the moment, if I was going to look at this technically at the moment, one of the things that I also like to look for, I mean, guys will have heard me talk about this before, is that quite often decisive bars can set up a range. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if we spend a little bit of time inside the range of this bar here. In fact, I would think we probably will. So if you're looking at trying to trade it down to here and looking for a bounce, I've certainly got no reason why you couldn't do that. Again, I don't know enough about the sell before Chinese New Year. I'd be, where are we? Today it's Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'd be a bit more interested. Hong Kong public holiday from Thursday, is that right? Thursday, Friday, is that right? I'd be a bit interested Wednesday afternoon having a look at this and seeing whether we start and see some people trying to get out of positions before the long holiday. I'm not sure that Hong Kong's a place where I'd want to be holding positions over a long break. If weekends were enough for me, then I might be a bit reluctant to take it through a decent sized break. It's certainly a place which has had political changes recently, and presumably that's reflected a little bit in some of this stuff on this chart. So, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be trying to get rid of a bit of it before Chinese New Year, so I can see a reason for a little bit of a play down. I can't say I know enough, but Julian, we've got to tell us whether a sell the week before Chinese New Year is a normal thing. One of the problems for us, of course, is that won't turn up in a European seasonal chart, because that's based off the European calendar, and Chinese New Year moves around based on the lunar calendar, so it wouldn't line up particularly well on one of our seasonal charts. I'm afraid I don't know much more. I can see a case for it, and I don't know why, but I often find that when you get extension bars like this, in the middle of sort of nowhere, quite often price spends a bit of time in a range off it. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that continue, but I've got nothing more on that, to be honest. Yeah.
Not a bad little break and retest of the top of that range, I've got to say.
Yeah, look, if you got a little run up and reversal bar up here, if you'd be short coming down the bottom, wouldn't you?
If I got a lower high now, yeah. Shit, yeah.
So I think, yeah, I've got to say, I don't feel like I can give you expert advice on that, but I don't think what you're saying is unreasonable. I just don't have enough specific knowledge on that particular thing to say that I would try. I wouldn't trade because I don't have enough specific knowledge, but it's definitely a possibility.
And I've got that specific knowledge divided by 400. So that's why I can't comment on it. I'm sorry. What I can comment on is euro dollar. Are you done, mate?
Yeah, mate, I think I am. I think Helen wants to see a few more extensions and
what hair extensions, Helen?
hair extensions. I think she does. Let me show her on this, mate. Okay.
Yeah,
Extension bar, resting bar, retracement.
Hang on.
Bar.
Wait. Still got. Oh, hang on. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, my chat box was covering what you're doing.
Extension bar, rest bar. I'm seeing a reversal bar, just a rest bar, reversal bar, extension bar closing on the high, indecision bar. Doesn't do much. Down here, a little bit of a move down, a little bit of a hesitation, pops back up, a little bit of a hesitation, tries to come back down, doesn't go anywhere, rolls back down, hesitation bar, pops back up. Not a great thing there, because there's no real move down for that one for mine. I mean, that's probably the decisive bar there. It's not clear enough for me in here. But that's really what I'm looking for, Helen. I'm looking for, and this is an example of it not working. There's a decisive bar up, and that's a hesitation bar, and the market just takes off and keeps on running, right? But decisive bar, a little hesitation bar, a little bit of a pullback, and quite a strong trend. There's not much reversing on this at this point. But that's what I'm seeing a lot in charts, like that move down, followed by that hesitation, followed by that move up. That's what I'm seeing a lot in charts, and the stuff that I look at. Perhaps a little bit more difficult to see, and vertical moves up and down, where there's not much of anything to have a look at. There's a nice extension, followed by hesitation bar, followed by a move back to the bottom of the bar. Remember I said that when you get that overextended bar, you get that sort of inside bar closing towards the bottom, like a little bit further down, but it often comes to the other end of the bar that causes that pattern. There's not only that didn't work, extension bar, hesitation bar, it doesn't do anything, it just takes off. But that's what I'm looking at as signs for me of exhaustion. Move up, big decisive bar, little bar doing nothing, little bar doing nothing, end of the move. Away she crashes. Extension bar closes on the bottom. Reversal weariness bar pops back up. So there's a few of them now. Is that us, mate?
Bar one thing, mate. I did say I was going to draw your attention to a euro dollar trade about half an hour ago, maybe even more.
Yeah.
But it didn't set up, guys. The problem here, and I want to explain this fully to you as to why I didn't trade it. And I always start on the 30-minute chart if I'm looking to trade short time frames or small time frames. And you all said or heard me say before, this is coming off the top of the range. Let's go back to here, to the daily chart. Have I still got the same thing? Yes, I do. Let's go back to the chart that's got the channel on it, right? And I said, this is early days. This may not yet be the one, and it may not. But look at that little gap between where we are and the weekly pivot. Now, here's the thing. I also said earlier that perhaps that bar there was the one to trade. But I still couldn't trade that. And the reason I couldn't trade that is because on a 30-minute chart, that is not, for me, good enough. Why is it not good enough? Because I've got an indecisive bar before it, indecisive bar to trade. Yes, it's coming off the weekly pivot, get all that. But I have seen that combination so many times on the 30-minute chart go whoop, whoop, that I just can't trade it, simply can't. Now, on the hourly chart, I was waiting for a better scenario. Sorry, go back to the 30-minute chart. I did say what we were looking for was a break and retest of the trade line. And this was perfect because we took out the low, which is the low of the day. I can't even see that candle, so I assume it was a doji bar, but it certainly didn't give me a nice bullish decisive bar, which is what we need to trade it. This is like honey to a bee, right? Sitting down here. This is really where I want to be. This is where I see price being at some stage. But until I've got the setup that says to me, yes, it's time to go, I just can't trade it. Now, I would love to be able to say, look, okay, we've hit the top of the channel, let's go short, scalp. I'd love to be able to do that, but I can't. I'd love to be able to say to you, hit the weekly pivot, let's go short, but I can't. That's just not the way I trade. As I said, I'd love to be able to do that. And there will come a time when I've got time to study it and work it out, how many times that works versus how many times it doesn't work, to be able to do that. But simply, I didn't get the setup. Yes, I see this going to daily pivot. Yes, I see it going down here. But until there's a setup, I simply can't trade it. And as I said to you, this has happened that many times before where we've snuck below the low of the day, big carrot underneath us, and then we go whoosh, and you're out. So until you get the setup, I don't think it's wise to trade it. Yes, it could go there, and it can go there quite often, but just got to play the way I play it. And I love this chart, right? Euro dollar 30-minute chart. But unless I get the setup, I find it's a very, very dangerous thing to do. And don't forget, the momentum is to the upside, not necessarily to the downside. So there you go. If it sets up, I'll let you know in the Telegram group. But right now, it simply hasn't set up. From Helen,
group going?
Sorry, mate.
How's the Telegram group going?
Look, to be honest, with the trading retreat, we haven't put a lot of content in there, but I have started putting some more in this week. So hopefully you guys, and you should be profiting out of that group. That group's done fairly well, I would imagine, over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe we should just extend it a little bit. I'm not sure. We'll have a chat about that.
Mate, one of the good things about being in isolation is you learn new skills, right?
What skill have you learned?
Do you know that a week ago, the last couple of days in Singapore, I used Food Panda once and Uber Eats once, and
Yep.
I'd never used them before, and now Uber Eats is on the way.
Awesome. They can't come to me here.
Oh, really?
No, I'm a little bit too far out of the city.
So,
but that's not a bad
leave
thing.
them with the soldiers downstairs who bring them up for me.
Yeah, look, I'll just wander downstairs because there's a wonderful soldier downstairs that's prepared something for me, so I'll just enjoy that.
The other thing, I'm not allowed to go and the meals that turn up here have been pretty good, but they've been a little bit disappointing. So I'm just going to top up a little bit. I've got a couple of hours work to do yet tonight. Mate, click to join the Telegram group, subscribe to Trading Buddies Inner Circle. Mate, I saw some of the stuff you put in there in the first couple of weeks. Thought it was bloody good. Really did. There's some really good stuff goes out. Yeah, cool, mate. Hope that some more people join it. Certainly some value in that. Mate, been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's been fun.
What? I reckon I was living in the UK. I reckon we did that for maybe 2 years, didn't we?
Yeah.
A bit longer than that too. None of this hour stuff. A couple of hours, wasn't it?
Oh, look, gee, we're going back a while, but yes, definitely a couple of hours. Certainly the first 2 hours of London session. And you know, to be fair, when I was trading one chart, Euro dollar 30-minute chart, life seemed a whole lot easier, I've got to say.
Yeah, mate, it's not the worst thing to do. I do remember that, and you know, it's it's one of the things. You know, you tend to go wandering for more opportunity, but I think as soon as you go wandering for more opportunity, your percentage is going to drop. When you get fewer opportunities and you're patient on one chart, I think your percentage is going to stay
well,
high.
as you said before, one chart, one system. Either way, it's the same.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, I think we've got to go.
Yeah, mate.
As you said. Ash will blame you. And that's good.
Yes, that's okay. I've already messaged him telling him it was your fault.
It generally is, but that's okay. Big, broad shoulders. Thanks, mate, for coming in. Really enjoyed it. And hopefully you guys got something out of it as well. I would like, hang on, Helen, there was some good upside being stuck in quarantine, PB analysis charts, laugh out loud. All right, Helen, lovely to chat as always. Mate, look forward to catching up later in the week.
Cheers, guys. Cheers later. Thanks, Chief. Nice to spend an hour with you, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. See you, mate.
Cheers, mate. And everyone else, we will catch you tomorrow at the very same time and on the very same channel. Have a wonderful Monday, and we look forward to carrying it all through the week. Bye-bye.